so I hope you're all okay and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, today I'm going to be doing another storytime video because it has been so long since I did a storytime video. I really enjoyed doing my previous storytime videos just because I feel like people can relate to them. I always like really watching like sit down chatty videos, and like I said, I feel that my storytime videos are on issues and subjects that I feel other people have maybe been through, dealt with, and I feel like it's always nice to, you know, feel that other people have been through similar things to you and just listen to their story and, you know, have a sense of that you're not alone. And I don't know, I just think it's nice to sometimes watch relatable videos, and I personally really enjoy watching those myself, so that's why I wanted to do another one today. I'm going to try and keep this intro so short because I have a tendency to ramble. Like I said, it's on bullying today, and I know that I did a video on bullying a good few years ago now. I actually took that video down from my channel just because it wasn't up to date. Like, obviously it was up to date in the sense I did a video about bullying and my experience, but I feel that few years later down the line, I'm in different places and stuff, and I feel like I can just tell the story a little bit better now. So that's why I just really wanted to do an updated video. And not only that, I feel like there is a lot more of you on my channel now that may not know I went through this and stuff, so yeah, it gives you a chance to get to know a little bit about me and what I went through before I got to where I am now. So yeah, if you want to watch my story about how I got bullied, then please continue watching. So starting from the beginning, so I first really experienced bullying when I first started high school. As you know, high school can be a very daunting place. You know, it's a lot bigger than my primary school. You know, there's new faces, there's older people. I mean, at my high school, it was a very big high school. It went from year 7 right up until 6th form. So there was thousands of people compared to like a few hundred people at primary school. So yeah, it can be very daunting. When I went up to high school, I actually didn't go with my best friend. She went to another school that was just like year 7, 8 and 9. So my best friend actually didn't go to the same school that I went to. So that initially was going to be quite hard, but the reason why we didn't go to the same school is we both just had different preferences, to be quite honest. It was she liked that school better and I liked this school better, so that was why we sort of went separate paths. Saying that, I still did know a lot of people going to the school I went to, so you know, I was never worried that I wouldn't have friends or anything like that. But yeah, when I started high school, I hung around with a group of girls. It was in my tutor group, everything seemed to be going absolutely fine. But very soon after we'd started, there seemed to be a lot of bitchiness in the group, and there was one girl in particular that she didn't like it that I was getting close to one of her friends. She didn't like it that we was having like a bit of a bond and connection and we got on really well, and jealousy was just obviously all around really. Like, I feel like some people just don't like you being friends with their friends or getting close to their best friend as such. So basically I ended up getting really close with this one girl, and she didn't like it because it was her best friend. So she then decided to start a rumour about me, make up a load of crap and turn all of the girls in the group against me. So they all fell out of me. I remember going to school one morning, sitting in tutorial I think it was, and no one was speaking to me, and I found it so odd. I was like, why aren't you speaking to me? And they was like, we can't speak to you. And I was like, what? I don't get it. Like, why? What have I done? Like, please tell me what I've done. And there was like, so-and-so's told us, like, we can't be your friend, and that you did this and did that, and so we can't speak to you. So honestly, it was such a bizarre situation, and it was so upsetting because then it meant that at break time, dinner time, I had no one. I was so alone. I used to have to like sit on my own, like on a food table. I used to just go in the toilets and sit and eat my lunch in the cubicle because I didn't have anyone. And being and sitting on a tea table on your own is, oh my god, I feel like I'm getting upset already and I don't want to get upset. Like, sitting on a tea table on your own, it's not a nice feeling when everybody's looking at you and laughing at you. I don't, like, this has only just started, like, this video, I don't even want to. Sitting on a tea table, I can't even tell you, like, sitting on your own and they're all looking at you, they're all laughing at you, like, it's not a nice feeling at all. So that was when I first really experienced like isolation and being bullied and just not having anyone. It wasn't necessarily like name calling at this stage as such. It was more the fact that she turned everybody against me in the group and no one was speaking to me, so I had no one. And then when I'd try and speak to them, they'd be like, oh my god, we can't speak to you, and just be horrible. So that was my first sort of taste of being bullied. And for the whole of year 7, I was so lonely. Like, I hated school, I hated going, I'd be upset every night. Yeah, it was torture. It was pretty much hell for me. Year 8, I made a friend, and Year 8 wasn't so bad. I still obviously wasn't speaking to that group in my tutor group, but I had another new friend in my tutor group that I'd made friends with, and everything was fine. But yeah, like in Year 9, it somehow resurfaced. I think I'd fell out with like the one girl that I was friends with. I can't even remember what it was over. Like, I think back then you used to fall out over so much petty things. But anyway, we'd fell out for some reason. I think she'd found a new set of friends or whatever. And I was like back to being on my own again, and then that's when the bullying sort of picked up again. It was the same people obviously I'd fell out with in Year 7. They started like resurfacing and being horrible to me again because they seen that I was on my own. So I remember, like, for example, in a geography lesson, I was sitting on a table and one of the like bullies was on my table, and she went under the table. Little, like, I didn't obviously know this at the time, but she'd gone under the table, grabbed my shoes off, because I only wore like little flat shoes, you know, they was all in back then, grabbed my shoes off and then chucked them out of the first floor of the building, like the top floor of the building. And for anyone who knows the school I went to, it's not like you can just go down right to the bottom and pick your shoes off the floor, because it basically like slopes like this, the building did, so there was basically like stuck. And I remember my teacher just sort of standing there, and I was like looking at him crying, and he was just sort of standing there, and he did not know what to do. The bell had gone, she'd run off, and honestly, like, I feel like teachers are so unprepared for bullies and how to deal with it, because he just didn't know what to do. Like, it was horrible. So that was a really crap day. I remember that so well. And yeah, like, just loads of little things, really. I can't obviously think of every little occasion, but there'd just be loads of things. For example, like in PE, I always got left out. I hated PE. Like, if I could not go to a PE class, I would happily not go. Like, anything I could do to get out of PE, I would. Like, I'd always try and purposely forget to bring my kit, but then I'd be made to, like, obviously wear the spare kit or whatever. But I just hated PE because it was that time where, oh, grab a partner, make yourself into a freak, and no one ever wanted to be with me. Like, I was always the one left on my own, and I feel like teachers shouldn't let people be in that situation. Teachers should partner people up, because letting people partner up, it always leaves the people most vulnerable. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, that was Year 7, 8 and 9. Year 9, like I said, it was getting really bad again, and then it got to a stage where I think one morning I'd come into tutorial, I was really upset because they were being horrible to me, and I literally just broke down in tutorial. Like, it took a lot for me to sit in front of the bullies and cry, because I'd always try and do it away from them. So they'd said something really, really horrible, and I remember just sitting there breaking down and crying. And my tutor, he was quite a weak character. He was a really old guy and he was lovely, but he was a very weak character in himself. Like, anyone who experienced his lessons would know that he was a walkover, and everybody would just mess around and he couldn't control the class. So I feel like he never really helped me with any of it, because I don't think he knew what to do. And I don't know, like, he just never seemed to pick up on it for some reason. But anyway, he picked up on it on this morning, and he came over to me and was like, Laura, like, what's up? Like, what are you crying for? Took me to the side, had a chat with me, and obviously I told him about everything, and he was gobsmacked. Like, he genuinely couldn't believe what was going on and what I had been experiencing. He then introduced me to a few new girls in my tutor group that I hadn't ever spoken to before, told them, look, you know, she hasn't got any friends, she's been bullied, like, can you look after her? So they obviously welcomed me into their group and took me on into their group. Next few weeks following that, everything was really fine. I seemed to be really happy, but I quickly, like, started to realise that the people that I'd been paired with wasn't really my sort of people. They was, like, sort of popular, and they were quite bitchy, to be honest with you. They were like the drinkers, the smokers. Like, they wasn't really my sort of people. But all the same, like, I just was like, oh my god, it's nicer to have someone than no one. But there was still occasions where I would, you know, be like the weak target in the group, and they would say things here and there, for example, because I didn't smoke and things like that. So there was still a lot of, like, intimidation and whatever, but it wasn't as bad as what it was before. So I sort of just plodded along and got through Year 9, because I couldn't wait until Year 10, because basically in Year 10 at my school, what used to happen, I don't even know if it happens anymore, but basically what happened in Year 10 is all the people from the school that stopped at Year 9 would come up to our school, because they could no longer stay at their school, so they had to come up to our school. And I forgot to mention, actually, that outside of school, I did have some friends outside of school, so outside of school wasn't too bad for me. Like, at the weekends I did have people to hang around with, and they went to this school. So I had, like, 2 best friends at that school, and I knew like a few other people from obviously mixing with them and stuff and being on MSN and getting their ads and stuff and whatever. So I couldn't wait until year 10. I couldn't wait for all of the people from that school to come up, because I was like, yes, my best friend's coming, like I'm going to have friends and I'm going to be happy and some new friends and everything like that. So I couldn't wait. Boy, was I wrong that it was going to be the best thing ever, because basically when it got to year 10, admittedly, I did something bad. Like, I made a massive mistake and I honestly do regret like doing it. But basically what happened is, my best friend that came up, we got obviously put in the same tutor group together because we both like chose each other and whatever. And basically what happened is, when she came up, she wasn't popular, right? And that's going to sound so stupid and dumb, and I hate saying that, but it's just how it was at the time, right? So she wasn't one of the popular people, you know. She wasn't a geek, but she wasn't popular. And for some strange reason, sorry, my phone keeps going off, let me just turn this on silent. For some reason, I had my head fixated on being a popular girl. In year 10, all I wanted to do was be popular, being with the in crowd, and that was that. I personally believe that the reason why I was like that, and the reason I did feel like that, was because I longed for this sense of belonging. I longed for this sense of being included, being in a big group of girls, having loads of girlfriends, being accepted, being liked, being loved, being known, and just being one of those girls that everybody sort of admires. So, admittedly, I ditched my best friend to go and try and pursue this thing of being popular. It's not that I can't blame myself for what then happened to me, but when I look back, I just think, why the hell did I do that? Like, I know why I did that, but, you know, I really wish I never did that, because not only was it not really nice to her, because I think she was so excited to sort of hang around with me, but, you know, it then made me go into a whole other world where obviously it was just awful. So like I said, I sort of ditched my best friend and hung around with a couple of girls that, like I told you, I knew from MSN and stuff, and I'd been speaking to from the other school. This one girl that like I sort of clung on to and was like really close friends with, like, was beautiful. Like, she was stunning, she had a full face of makeup on, she was really fashionable, and I really was like, oh my god, I want to be like her. Like, I want to, you know, learn to put makeup on. So this time I didn't wear makeup. I think I might have put a little bit of mascara on, but I didn't wear foundation or anything like that. I wasn't really glam or whatever. So like I just wanted to be one of them. So I got really good friends with her, and yeah, like, honestly, to this day we do still speak. Like, she is a nice person, she was never a bitch, she was never, you know, a bully or anything like that. So yeah, like, so me and her was like really good friends, and obviously she knew like all of the bitches, because obviously she went to that school. And like I said, she was sort of like one of the popular girls as well. So obviously she introduced me to all these like new people and everything seemed great for like the first few weeks, and I was so happy, like, oh, like I'm in like the popular crowd, I'm hanging around with all these people, and oh, I don't know, it seems so stupid now. Soon after, like, I started to hang around with this crowd, I became the weakling. Like I said to you, I was very shy at school, I was very timid, I wasn't gubby, I wasn't loud, I didn't smoke, I didn't particularly drink, I wasn't like getting with boys every weekend and things. Like, I wasn't like them, if that makes sense. So within this big group and this big circle of people, there was this one girl in particular that was an absolute bitch. Like, she was honestly vile, and I know that it wasn't just me that she used to bully at school. I think in a lot of lessons where other girls were, she was horrible to them. She was always picking on someone. So yeah, like, it wasn't just me that she bullied, but obviously in the circle of friends, it was me that she bullied, because like I said, I was shy, I was quiet, and I didn't stand up to it ultimately. So the number one thing that initially instigated being bullied was not wearing makeup. So like I said to you, I used to go to school every day and not wear makeup. So I remember one day going to school and not wearing any makeup, and this girl would be like, oh my god, why have you come to school without no makeup on? You're so effing ugly. Like, you've got such a big nose, like, you're this, you're that, your freckles are effing ugly. Like, go and put some makeup on, you look disgusting. Like, for someone to sit there and tell you that, like, and tell you you're ugly, it's horrible. Like, there's no other word for it. Like, it really did used to cut me up, and it obviously used to make me feel really, really self-conscious. So from that moment on, like, I spoke to my, like, the girl that was nice, who wore loads of makeup and whatever, and, you know, she sort of like introduced me to this world of makeup. So from then on, you know, went out and brought the old Dream Lamp mousse and everything, and plastered myself in makeup, and yeah, transformed myself into this girl that wore loads of makeup. And then I remember like wearing all this makeup, and it was this guy like in the popular clique, And I remember he was awful to me. Like, when I started wearing all this makeup, he'd come up to me and like wipe his hands down my face and be like, "Ew, look how much makeup you wear. It's because you're so effing ugly." So like it felt that like I was getting this ugliness comment from every single angle, honestly. And I think ultimately that's why I'm so insecure today. Like, I think people just think I'm this confident person that sits in front of the camera and puts on his brave face, and everybody's always saying, "Oh, you're so pretty, you're so this, you're so that." But honestly, like, I still to this day don't feel that prettiness. I don't feel like I didn't want to cry in this video because I've just done my makeup, but it's like, I don't know, no one will ever understand the comments and the daily torture that I used to get at school. Like, it's easy for me just to sit here and say it, but until you actually experience it and actually go through it every day at school, have someone tell you every day you're ugly, have someone pick faults with your imperfections every single day, like, you don't understand how much that scars you deep down and mentally. Like, it really does. And I think that's the reason, like, for many years, like, obviously it was only till more recently, sorry, obviously it was only until like more recently that I started going out without any makeup on, and that's so big for me. Like, that was a massive achievement to start being able to have the confidence to do that, because I never would have done that. And it's from school, it 100% is. So yeah, like, that was a lot. So yeah, ugly and all that was a big thing, and freckles and stuff. But also because, you know, not to blow my own trumpet, I was quite academic at school. Like, I wasn't one of these people that didn't give a crap about my grades. Like, I very much wanted to get on with my life, work hard, study, get good grades. For example, as well, like, my mum used to send me to like flute and piano lessons, and I was in an orchestra, and I used to do like extra music outside of school. Like, I did an extra GCSE because I didn't particularly like the music teacher. That's a whole different other story. He's a bit of a perv. So yeah, I actually took music as an extra GCSE outside of school. So I feel like my mum always tried to keep me on the straight and narrow in that sense of being, you know, quite academic. And, you know, like, I think part of her sending me like music lessons was because I was mixing with really nice people and really good people. Do you get what I mean? So although I've never done anything with them, and obviously, you know, it's a lot of money to go to them lessons, I always feel thankful that I did that, because I feel that it enabled me to mix with nice people outside of school. So yeah, so that was that. I'm getting a bit off track now, but like, obviously they knew I played the flute and piano, so I remember like being on break times, they'd sit there and they'd be like, then they'd start like pretending to play the flute, and they'd all burst out laughing. Like, they'd all just start laughing, and I just sit there and I just want the ground to swallow me up. Like, again, when I say it, like, I feel like you can't really understand it, but believe me, like, you imagine sitting there and everybody's laughing at you and taking the piss out of you. It's such awful experience. Like I said, I did have that one good friend in the group, and it was a hard situation for her because she doesn't want them to jump on her. I do actually remember her herself experiencing a few comments from, you know, some of the bitches now and again. "Oh, like, how much blusher have you got on? Go and put some more blusher on." Like, I remember that one, literally, like, it was yesterday, walking across the canteen, them shouting that at her. But mainly it used to be me, because, like I said, I was just weak, I don't know if that's the right word, but I was just shy, and I didn't, you know me, and I didn't stand up for myself, and I wasn't loud and whatever, so for them it was easy. So other examples of being bullied were, I always remember at one time when I was sitting on a tea table with my good friend, the nice person. Try not to mention names, because obviously I don't, you know, I don't want to bring people's names into this. So I was sitting with her, and we was having a nice little chat, was having some lunch. I don't know where all the bullies were, because we normally would sit on like a big 6 table with everyone, but when they weren't around, it was nice because we got to sit, just me and her, on a table and have like pasta. So we were sitting having food, and all of a sudden the main bitch, come over, and something was up with her. I clearly remember something was up with her, and she went, so-and-so, like, I'm not going to mention her name, and she was like, come toilet. She was like, "Laura, don't come." Like, I was so upset. Like, that made me feel so crap. Like, she'd just come over to the table and was like asking my friend to go, and took my friend, and then I was just literally sat there. Obviously, my friend obviously felt like in a bit of an awkward situation, because she knows how much of a bitch she is. She just obviously got up and went. I also remember as well that with this group of people, I had to be out every single weekend. Like, if I didn't go out at the weekend, my life would be made hell. People would think, why would they want you out? But what you don't realise is, I am that person in the group they want to target. So for them, I'm their entertainment. So if I don't go out, they're not got the entertainment. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird. So yeah, so weekends used to be quite horrendous for me because there was like part of me that didn't want to go out because obviously I'm going to be getting bullied, but then there's part of me that wants to go out because my life is going to be made hell on a Monday morning when I'm at school. Where was you? Why wasn't you out? Oh, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, that was never an easy situation either. Another thing that I really remember that sticks out for me was basically there was another girl that bullied me. Now, she was not like a permanent bully. She was just a bully in one lesson, if that makes sense. So she was very much a bitch. Everybody who knew this gal will tell you she was gobby, she was a bitch, she was intimidating. Again, I don't think I was alone with the bullying. I don't think I was the only person she was horrible to. She was vile. She hung around with, it was like this one other gal, and they were awful, awful people. They were not nice people at all. So she was in my cooking class, and I always remember going to cooking and she'd ask me for money. Always ask me for money. Have you got a pound? Have you got a pound? I'd be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I've not got any money. She'd be like, why are you lying for? Why are you lying? Like, what? And getting really up in my face and really intimidating me. So eventually I started giving her money. And obviously I used to have cooking twice a week, I think it was. So every time I used to go to cooking, I used to give this girl money because I was scared. Like, I was frightened to death of her. She was so intimidating, so scary. You know, she had these big like gold hoop earrings and she was quite aggressive in her tone of voice and stuff. But yeah, it got to the stage where I just used to feel that intimidated from her that I used to like give her money, because like I said, she'd get really up in my face, really aggressive, like, yeah, why are you lying, you have got money, blah 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 blah. But there was another part of me that was like, I don't want someone like her not to like me, because I don't know, she was like, I don't know, everybody was like really scared of her and stuff. So I thought, you know, it's better to be sort of in with her than not. So anyway, because I obviously always used to lend her money and stuff, she started like, I don't know, thinking that we was friends and stuff. So one day she actually invited me around to her house. Part of me was like, oh, I don't really want to go because this girl actually isn't very nice to me. But then part of me was like, someone like her is better to be friends with than not be friends with. I don't want to say no to her. So I remember just saying yeah and going. When I was actually with her on her own, she was actually okay. Like, she wasn't too bad. And yeah, so anyway, I remember going around the house and she actually lent me a jacket to wear for some reason. And she was like, yeah, just bring it back like school tomorrow if you want. You can wear it to school, then like give it me. So I remember wearing this jacket to school and going and sitting at lunchtime with all of the bitches that bullied me. And everyone was like, why are you wearing so-and-so's jacket? That's so-and-so's. Like, why are you wearing so-and-so's jacket? And I was like, oh, because like I went around the house last night, and they was all like, they all couldn't believe that I'd been around their house because they was actually scared of this girl. Like I said, this girl was like ultimate bitch. Like, she was the ultimate bitch and the ultimate person that everybody was scared of. So when all the bullies and everyone knew that I'd been around their house, it was like, they couldn't get over that I'd sort of been friends with her and been speaking to her, and that they, do you know what I mean, that she'd even invite me around to her house. So they was all a bit standoffish about it. They was like, oh my god, like as if you went around her house. Like, I don't know, it was really strange. Time at school as well where I used to get bullied quite a lot was dinner times. In year 10 and 11, we could actually go down to the village and, you know, buy lunch from the shops and stuff. So occasionally, when it was nice and when it wasn't freezing, we would go down to the village and buy our lunch. And again, the main bitch would always try and show me up in front of everybody. You would be in a shop full of loads of people because it was packed and busy, full of obviously all the school kids and stuff, and you'd just be standing there doing absolutely nothing, and she'd be like, oh my god, you slept with who last night? You shagged who? Like, she'd just be saying all this absolute crap. Obviously, I was 15 at the time. I was not, and still am not, someone that just goes around and sleeps with people. Like I said, in this group, they were the sort of guys that did things like that. Like, yeah, like drinking, smoking, sleeping with different guys all the time and stuff. And I wasn't, like, I think at this stage I was, you know, I hadn't even slept with anyone. But she would do things like that, like shouting things at the top of her voice, trying to like make me look an idiot in front of everybody. Everybody would be laughing. So they're just other like instances of what she would do to me. In year 11, it sort of turned to social media. Social media was literally just popping up at this time. It was MSN, MySpace and Bebo. Naturally, I'm going to have it because, you know, I don't want to be not included and I don't want to be left out of something that everybody else has got. So yeah, like I had it. So I remember like going home and getting like loads of nasty messages online as well. This is what I'm saying, the bullying just never seemed to stop for me. It just was constant. I couldn't seem to get away with it from it. So I'd go home, log on to MSN, and you could do things like group chats where you actually add people into the conversation. You wouldn't necessarily have them like added on your like MSN, but they could be added. So I remember one time like going onto MSN, and this one girl that for some reason did not like me, she added like loads of other people into a conversation, and then she just started being so horrible to me. She started saying, nobody effing likes you, you're an effing ugly bitch, go and do everybody a favour and go and kill yourself. If you come to school tomorrow, like, I'm going to flush your head down the toilet. Yeah, there was loads of really nasty comments. I remember being so upset. I hated school anyway. I used to cry every single night to my mum. After that, I just didn't want to go. I was absolutely afraid of going. My mum obviously took all the conversations, took him to school, but the school did not do anything. Like, they literally just looked at it and said, it's not a school matter, we can't deal with it. But yeah, it wasn't easy. People would also say, like, why didn't you ever go and try and be friends with other people? Like, why did you stay with that group? The only way I can sort of describe this is, and sort of compare it to, in a similar sense, is domestic violence. So if you've ever experienced domestic violence, or you're with a partner that's beating you up or whatever, it's not something that you can just walk away from. It's not an easy thing. You don't just walk up and leave. Like, people, you know, when you hear people that are getting beat up by their partners and stuff, you're like, oh my god, why are you still with them? It's very similar to being bullied. You can't walk away. You walk away and it gets 10 times worse. And it's like these people that are trapped in these relationships where they're getting beat up. How can you just leave? You know, it's a hard thing to just up and leave, because they're psychotic. The people are psychotic. They find you, they get you, and it's that sense of, I can't, honestly, you just have to be in a situation to understand it. And yeah, so there was many occasions where I did actually try and hang around with other people, but whenever I did that, like I said, my life would just be made 10 times worse. Why the f are you trying to hang around with them for? Why are you not hanging around with us? Well, yeah, so that was that. I also remember as well that there was another time that it always sticks in my head. I basically started dating this guy, and he was lovely, like, he was such a nice guy. And he was a little bit older. He didn't actually go to our school, but he hung around with like all these sort of like popular lads in our school. So we started like speaking on MSN all the time, and he was so nice, and it was nice to have someone there to speak to and stuff. And basically, yeah, we started speaking and we started meeting up and stuff. When I met up with him, he just wasn't my sort of person. Like, he was so different. I feel like sometimes people can be so different on MSN compared to how they are in real life. Like, on MSN, he was this really talkative, like, really funny guy, and in real life, his personality just didn't really match. But anyway, I'd actually already agreed to go to his Christmas party to him, and he took me to Birmingham and bought me a dress. I'd always said, like, no, you don't need to buy me a dress. Like, I can buy my own dress. Like, I don't want you to buy me anything. It's absolutely fine. I'll give you the money. But he was adamant that he was buying me this dress. To be honest with you, it wasn't even a lot in the end. I think it was like a £40–50 dress. It wasn't like a £300 dress. Anyway, he bought me this dress. Obviously, we then sort of like split up, and you know, whatever. But I always said to him, look, I will still come to the party with you. I know my name is down on the list, and I don't want to just like drop you. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to put you in that situation where you've got to tell everybody that I'm not coming anymore. So he was like, yeah, if you'd still come, I'd really appreciate it. Because we were still friends. We were still friends. So anyway, like, I know I'm sort of going off topic of the bullying, but it does come back into relation, believe me. Basically, the girls at school got wind of this and obviously heard about the situation, because obviously they knew him, they was friends with him. I don't know how they actually knew, but I remember going into the toilets and they was like, are you going out with so-and-so? Oh, have you kissed him? Blah, blah, blah. So they was first of all winding me up, like, when they found out that I was with him. And then, obviously, when they heard about, obviously, the fact that I didn't actually want to be with him and he'd brought me a dress and all this, they were literally, like, being so mean. They was like, you're such a bitch, like, using him for this, using him for that, and yeah, it was really horrible. So that was another time I really remember. They really, like, went in on me in the toilets about it, and honestly, it was nothing to do with them. They didn't know what was going on, but yeah, they just felt the need to get involved and be bitchy. So yeah, that was school pretty much summed up, I think. Like I said, I couldn't wait until the day school was out, to be honest with you. Like, I just couldn't wait until school was over, because in my head I was like, right, after school I'm going to go to college, it's going to be so much better, I'm going to be away from all these. Like, that was my chance for my new start in my head. Like, I thought leaving school would be the best thing ever. So I'm going to try and skip a lot of these details out, because I feel like, oh my god, there's just so much. So when I left school, I chose to go to a college on the other side of Leicester. Like, literally, I had to get 2 buses to school every day. I think I knew one person from my school going. That was literally it. And yeah, in my head, new start. When I got to this school, everybody was so cliquey. So that was that. At this point, remember the girl I told you about that was my best friend when I first like went into year 10, I sort of left her. We started being friends outside of school again, which, you know, was so good for me. Like, yeah, I was so happy that we was now speaking and we was friends and stuff. But yeah, I feel like this is when it all started to go downhill again. So basically, she actually left to go into the Navy. So it was like my one friend that I had was like moving away. So for me, that was really difficult, really obviously hard. Yeah, so obviously at this point in my life, I didn't have any friends. And I just obviously moved to a college that I hated. I literally wanted to drop out of. And my best friend was going into the Navy. So after this... So this was going on for like a couple of months. I really just wanted to drop out of college, but I kept going. I then made friends with someone on the school bus. She used to go to my old high school. She was one of the second lot of like popular bitches. I knew she wasn't a nice person. I knew she was a bully. I knew she was a bitch. But to me, it was like I'd rather have one friend than no friends at all. So anyway, I befriended her, long story short. Ended up hanging around with her and like the other girls that used to go to my school. And she was horrible. Like, when I used to hang around with her, again, similar things happened to me as they did at high school, for example. You know, I was the one that always got picked on when we was out. Like, she'd just say nasty things to me, like, oh, you're fucking ugly, like, you're this, you're that. But yet, surprisingly, I was her friend. So, yet again, I found myself in a situation where I'd got friends with someone, I was in a group that I couldn't really get away from. You know, I was experienced being, you know, nasty comments again, being left out. And it basically come to a point where she actually beat me up. So to try and round this story off quite quickly, because it's quite a long story, I basically wanted to go out with my old friend from school, the one that was in the like popular group that was actually nice. So we would arrange a night out, and I told obviously the bitches that I hung around with that I'm going out with so-and-so this weekend. They was like, no, you're not going out with her. We don't like her. You hang around with us. You come out with us every weekend. Why are you going out with her for? So, as you can see, they're very controlling, very, like, obsessive over me. Didn't like it if I was friends with anybody else. I was like, no, I'm going out with, like, I've not seen you in ages. Like, I'll see you out. If I see you, like, I'll, you know what I mean? I'll come and see you when I'm out. I didn't particularly want to see them when I was out, but I just said that so that they'd be okay with me. So, eventually, they was like, okay, that's fine. Anyway, long story short, when we were out, we seen them. The gal, obviously, I was with did not like them. Like, she was like me. She didn't like them. She knew those bitches. She felt intimidated, like, being in their company. So, when we was in this one club, she was like, come on, let's go toilet and, like, let's, you know, like, think of a plan of how we can get away from them. So, we was basically in the toilet, and then all of a sudden, the bitches come in the toilet, and the main bitch was, like, banging down the toilets, shouting our names, like, where are you? Like, no, you're in here hiding from us, rah, 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 rah. And my friend who I was in the cubicle with was like, pretend you're being sick, like pretend like, you know what I mean, we're in here because you're being sick. So I was like pretending to be sick, and then all of a sudden the cubicle got smashed down. She dragged my friend out of the cubicle by her hair, was literally squaring up to her, screaming at her. I admittedly just stood there, froze, didn't know what to do because I was terrified. My friend ended up running off, and I think her boyfriend was actually in the club, so she went and found him. And then I was like in a bit of an awkward situation, didn't know what to do, I didn't know if to run after her, I didn't know what to do. So I ended up running after her, and the bitch was like, you dare run after her? And I was like, you know what, like, just leave me alone. So I ran off, ended up not being able to find her in the club, so I ended up outside onto the streets. I seen someone that I knew, and she seen I was an absolute upset, bawling mess, asked me what was wrong, told her the whole story, and then just as I'm telling her the story, the bitches come out. Literally shouting at me like, what are you doing, rah rah rah. So the girl that I was actually with then like gets in front of me, is like, you know what, why don't you pick on someone on your own side? Like, if you're having a go at her, have a go at me. Well, literally the bitch literally just bombed her, literally just smacked her. So then they end up having like a massive fight in the street. It was honestly not good at all. And the gal's boyfriend ended up just like taking her away and was like, God, if we hadn't bumped into you, none of this would have happened. So then I ended up being on my own yet again. So at this point I moved myself across the road and just like sat slumped on the floor outside of the bus station, crying my eyes out. Like, I didn't know what to do, didn't have no money on me, I didn't have my phone. I didn't know how I was going to get home because my friend was supposed to be paying for the taxi, and I think I'd left my phone at home or something. So yeah, I was an absolute mess. The bitches then came over the road and was like, you're an effing bitch, why was you laughing? Why was you laughing? That's all I remember them saying. I was like, what do you mean why I was laughing? Why was you, what do you think's funny? I think they were trying to say that I was laughing at them fighting or something. I didn't know, like, it was absolutely, was like mental. She then tries to get me up off the floor and starts hitting me and fighting me. She's like, come on, fight me. and she was like pulling me off the floor and smacking me and punching me. And then I remember just being slumped on the floor because I thought, I cannot fight this girl, she's a lot bigger than me and I'm not a fighter anyway. And then she was just kicking me in the head like constantly. I will include some pictures I think I actually still have from that night. They're not the worst pictures, to be quite honest. They were taken about a week and a bit later, so my bruises had gone down dramatically. But I'll include them anyway. So yeah, I literally got battered. And then I remember the thing that really always sticks in my mind is she then spat on me after she'd beat me up, and she went, "I hope you effing die," and just walked off and left me in the street. And then 2 guys that didn't know seen me, got me home in the taxi that night. So luckily, you know, there were some genuine people around. That was that night. I didn't go to the police. I didn't want any, you know what I mean? I wanted to just forget about it, and I hoped that was it. They was out of my life. After that night, a girl that used to hang around with them got in contact with me and was like, "Oh my god, I heard what happened. I heard you got beat up. That's why I stopped hanging around with them. I hope you're okay." She actually got in a car and like someone dropped her off at my house, I remember, and she come and seen me. And yeah, we had a chat and stuff. Anyway, I ended up being best friends with her. We ended up like getting on really well, and it was so nice. So for the year after, I had a best friend, and I always remember saying to her, "Look, I don't mind hanging around with you, but if you ever go back to that group, like, I can't be your friend, like, after what they did and what they put me through." She was like, "Oh my god, like, of course I will never, like, I'll never go back. I'll never go back to them. Like, I seen what they did to you, I seen your injuries, like, I'll never do that." So basically, as you can imagine, she ended up going back to them. I got a text message one day saying, "I'm meeting up with so-and-so, blah blah blah." I said, "That's fine, you could do what you want, but if you start hanging back around with them, I can't be your friend. No, I can't go through that again." And then from that moment onwards was when my life literally probably became the worst out of everything. Like, I think this time of my life was the worst, because I literally did have no one. I was failing at college. I was literally on the verge of being chucked out of college. I had no friends. I had no one. My friend, like I said, my best friend had gone off to the Navy. I didn't have really any friends at school. I had people that I could speak to, but I didn't have like a best friend. I didn't have anyone at the weekends. I was doing YouTube videos at this point, actually. I set up YouTube. I felt like it was the only way that, I don't know, like, I feel like the YouTube community made me feel like I had friends online, and that's why I set up YouTube. But yeah, I feel like this time in particular was just a really, really difficult time. Like I said, I was failing at college. I was having phone calls home every week. I was on report every week for like lack of attendance. Got to the stage where they was like, "If you don't improve, then you will be kicked out of college." And I think to top it all off, this was a point where my mum then got diagnosed with cancer. So it was like, as if it wasn't bad enough that I didn't have any friends, I didn't have anyone, and all this crap had been going on. My mum then got really poorly. I'm gonna stop. Honestly, I don't even know how to explain how I was feeling at this point. My life was just, I got to the stage where I used to think about suicide a lot. Believe me, like, I just wanted it to be over. I just wanted my life to be over. I honestly didn't feel like I had a reason to live anymore. And then obviously, like I'm going to go into detail about now, you'll understand why. So basically, at this point, like I said, I had no friends. My mum was really poorly. And then obviously, as this girl had gone back to the bitches, they then like went on some sort of vendetta to try and destroy my life. And told everybody at sixth form that the old school I used to go to about my YouTube. So I then found myself logging into Facebook one day, and everybody had wrote nasty things about me on Facebook. My videos were all over Facebook, everybody's Facebook. I think I have a few screenshots. These are quite minor compared to the other ones, but these are the only ones I actually have. I'll include them now. So I remember logging into Facebook and everybody's like, laugh out loud, "Oh my god, who's seen Laura's videos? What an effing geek. Who would take fashion advice from her? Oh, she's so effing ugly," this, that. Like I said, I try and include the ones I do have, but I know that there was worse ones than this. So to log into Facebook and see all that, like, it literally rips me apart. The one thing I enjoyed doing, my escape from being bullied, they now found out about it, and then that was it. I had to end my YouTube, and I was doing so well on YouTube, like, at this point. It was when no one did YouTube. No one did YouTube. Like, it was unheard of to be a YouTuber back then. No one did it, believe me. And it's always like a massive thing that I regret, because I just think I let these people take that away from me. Like, I let them like get into my head to the stage where I deleted my YouTube. I used to get 100,000 views on a video. Do you know what I mean? I used to have such a big following on my YouTube, and it was when Zoella was just starting up. It was when all of your big YouTubers now that you see with millions of followers, that was when I started YouTube, actually. And I always think, like, what if, like, what would have happened if I did carry my YouTube then? But anyway, you can't dwell on the past. But ultimately, I closed down my YouTube account. I deleted every single video. I deleted it all. That was it. I just washed my hands with it. They then went and turned, like, my one friend that I had at school against me. They fed her a load of crap. I don't even know what they told her, but I ended up having her pop up on MSN going mad at me. And yeah, like, they got into her head. And, you know, when people want someone to turn against you, they'll do anything in their nature, and that's what they literally did with her. Obviously, we've made up many years ago, and yeah, whatever, like, we're friends now. Turned her against me, so they literally went round and tried to do anything they could to destroy my life. I was texting a guy at the time, I remember, and I really, really liked him. They was texting him saying stuff like, oh my god, why are you texting Laura Meacham? She's so effing ugly, she's such a little bitch, like, don't go out with her. He actually told me about it, and then I think he just felt like, oh, I can't continue seeing you anymore, so he stopped seeing me because of them. And yeah, like I said, it was a really, really, really difficult time. I managed to scrape through college, got 3 A-levels, none that was anything relevant, but yeah, I managed to get through it. I then went to university. I then met my now ex-boyfriend, and my life started to get better, like it did. After I left college, things did sort of, you know, die down and get better, and for the first time in ages I was actually happy. After uni, you'd think it would all stopped. I didn't hear from them in years and whatever, and that was literally it. Like I said, about 4 or 5 years ago now, so I was probably like 21, 22. I was in a nightclub and I seen the bitch, the bully that used to bully me when I was at college, the one that beat me up the first time. So I was in a nightclub, I was with a new friend that I'd made friends with, and she'd come over. We was actually speaking to one of her friends, and then the bully, the bitch that used to beat me up, she came over. I remember literally, like, I didn't even know how I felt. I hadn't seen her in years and she beat me up. I was literally, like, petrified. I was, like, nudging my friend, like, we need to go, like, we literally need to go. And she was like, what's up? Because I never told her, like, it's not something I go around telling people. I was trying not to look at her, and I remember I was really, like, not looking at her. And then I then glanced at her and she went, what the F are you looking at? And I was like, what? I was like, I'm not looking at you. And she was like, yes, you are. She was like, what are you looking at? Like, what the F is your problem? I was like, honestly, I'm not looking at you. Like, why would I be looking at you? I can't even remember, but she just went off, unprovoked, into this little rant. He was like, you know what? You're an effing ugly little bitch. Like, you need to sort yourself out. Look at you. Who do you think you are? Like, you think you're so pretty. Like, you think you're this, you think you're that. Literally, like, running her mouth like this at me. And then I remember, like, I just stood there and took it. I didn't even say anything. And then she turned around and she was like, do you know what? She was like, your mum's got cancer. She was like, I hope she effing dies. She was like, your dad's nothing. Like, who's your dad really? Your dad's got a shit job. And yeah, like, I don't know. She was, honestly, I don't even know where all this bitchy stuff come from. But she was saying awful, awful things about my family. And when you drag my family into something, like, that's when I feel like I will retaliate. So I had stood there and took all of this shit from her, and admittedly she was a big girl. I would never ever be the sort of person to say anything nasty to anyone about anyone's weight or anything like that. I'm not like that, and you know, I would never say anything horrible to anyone, but she just stood there and said that she wanted my mum to die. I then turned around to her and went, how's gym going? I went, clearly not very well, because you're still a fat bitch. I know, that was really horrible of me, and I would never ever say, like, please understand that I would never ever say anything like that to anyone, and I'd never, like, be horrible about people's weight or anything like that. But I felt so much anger in me that I just felt like I had, do you know what I mean, I had to get something off my chest. Well, after that comment, it all hell went loose. She come over to me, she was dragging me, kicking me, I fell to the floor. Her friend was then hitting my friend, and yeah, it was another scene of hell. So yeah, I ended up being taken to a back room. I blacked out, I can't remember anything. I remember being taken to a side room. I got put into an ambulance. And yeah, that was the second time I got beat up by her. I did go to the police, reported it, nothing got done. Her dad basically hired, like, a really good solicitor. She had to write me an apology letter. I'm going to quickly tell you about is about 2 years ago now. So I was out in another nightclub, another friend. Again, hadn't seen the bitch in absolute ages. So I'm standing in a nightclub and I see her across the room. Oh, it's going to be another repeat of last time. So I tell my friend, quickly fill her in on what had went on. Don't worry, she said, like, we're going to stand our ground, stay here, you're with me, I'm not going to let anything happen to you. I then took one of my guy friends out into the corridor because I was like, I want to go, like I want to go home, I just don't feel comfortable about the situation. He was like, come on then, like we'll go. As we are speaking, she's followed us out and gone, what is your problem? Why are you staring at me still? What? And literally just trying to create a problem. I wasn't staring at her. Clearly I wasn't staring at her. So she's shouting at me, and I stood up for myself. I was like, oh my God, how long is this going to go on for? I was like, we're 24, 23 years old. No, we were 23, maybe 22, 23. I was like, I'm 22, 23 now. Like, we left school 4 or 5 years ago. Like, why are you still bringing this on? Like, I've not done anything to you. I wasn't looking at you. Like, get a life. Oh, she's like, oh, you're still an ugly bitch, and throwing all these same crappy little insults at me again. Anyway, I'm shouting back at her, and then she then ends up grabbing me by my hair, pulling me onto the floor, and then again, it all went black. Oh my God, my tummy's really rumbling. Sorry if you can hear that. And it all went black. I literally, again, can't remember anything much. Then this time, I then decided to report it to the police again. This time the police was so crap, I can't even tell you. I had independent witnesses this time, like people that had been outside when it happened and literally seen her attack me for no reason. People that was like, we will have your back. Police did not do anything. They didn't look into it. They didn't even interview my witnesses in the end. So I feel like it's such a frustrating thing because a lot of people will be like, why didn't you get it done, blah, blah, blah. It's not that easy. Like, unless you're one of these people that really get onto the police, they don't care. They'll only care when you're in a deathbed, like, with brain damage and about dead. Do you know what I mean? Like, they are so crap, I can't even tell you. That was the last run-in I had with her. But yeah, I literally feel like it's so crazy. I literally feel like I could write a book about my life because I feel like so much has gone on. But I feel like what's the funniest thing is, it's like they bullied me so much and look where I am now. Like, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet or be big-headed about, you know, whatever, but I just feel like everything they said has made me determined with my life. Like, it's made me determined to be the person I am today. It's made me determined to work my ass off. It's made me even more determined to reach my goals. You know, here's them, you know, 10 years ago taking the mick out of me doing YouTube, taking the mick out of my fashion, saying that, oh, who would take fashion advice of her? Well, hello, like, I do a YouTube channel now where it's predominantly fashion. You know, my Instagram is a lot of fashion pictures and stuff. So there are clearly people that do listen to me and like my fashion. And I think the main thing is I'm doing this for a job now, so who's the one laughing? You know, they might have laughed at me all them years ago for doing YouTube, but this is my job now. I get to work for myself. I get to wake up in the morning and do something I love every day of my life. I get to do amazing opportunities. I get to go to amazing events in London, like glamorous events, you know, celebrities, everything like that. No, that's my life, because pass me a cup of tea, biscuits in front of the fire any day. I'm much content doing that than going to all these celebrity parties. But I get invited to them. That is part of my life if I want it to be now. So it just makes me laugh so much because they was so mean to me, yet here I am, like, living such a happy life now and doing things I love. And what I do find so funny about it as well is I see them watching my Instagram stories. Like, I see them, and that's what makes me laugh more than anything. Like, these were the people that were so horrible to me at school, yet they sit and still watch me. So yeah. But the last place I really want to just touch on quickly before I go, I know this video is going to be about an hour long, so I do apologise. So it's definitely going to be one that I hope you've grabbed a cup of tea for. But yeah, I think the last place I do want to just briefly touch on is the fact that if you are being bullied, if you have experienced this, if you are experiencing this, just to know that life will get better for you. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a year's time, it might not be in 2 years' time, but please just persevere and try and find that strength inside you. Try and find someone that you can talk to. Try and find someone that can, you know, sort of help you and, you know, give you strength to get through it. Because like I said, I had obviously my mum to like help me through it and support me, and if I didn't have her, I don't know what would have brought me through it. So yeah, like, I think that's a thing that you realise as well as you get older. Like, I feel like now when people are being bullied, you say to them, they're just jealous. They're like, no they're not, no they're not. And I was that person. I was like, no they're not, why would they be jealous of me? But when you look at where they are in life now and where you will be, you will realise, like, where I look at the bullies and I see like their life now and I see my life and I'm like, oh my God, like, seriously. So honestly, you will get the final laugh, believe me. And I feel like I have that now. I feel that I'm just like, ha I did it, and you know what I mean, you didn't stop me doing it. So yeah, it's like, go you, pat on the back. And honestly, if you are going through it, then please, if you feel like you need someone to speak to, please just message me, email me, comment below. Like, I I want to be there for you. Like, I want to help you. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap the video up here because I can appreciate that it's been quite long. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel to see more videos, and please give this a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and I shall see you all in my next video. Bye bye.